Hi there, Gracie Barra family. Marcio Feitosa here. I'm a Gracie Barra black belt, 50th degree, under Mestre Carlos Gracie Jr. Loyalty of his instructors, athletes, students, and from day one, Master Carlos had this vision to create a worldwide brotherhood through Jiu-jitsu. From day one, when he had one Jiu-jitsu school in Barra da Tijuca, that was already the idea. And he knew the only way for him to be able to have that type of connection, that type of trust and loyalty within the team was to set the example. That's my understanding of how Master Carlos was able to instill that mentality of brotherhood, of trust, of loyalty into each one of us. It was about him setting the example. So when I think in terms of my job as a teacher or my job as a mentor to people inside Gracie Barra, I always try to see that as a leadership role, and I understand that leadership equals to setting the example. So keeping it simple, from what I learned from Master Carlos, from the results I saw into his work, my conclusion is that leadership equals setting the example. If you work on you and you set the example, everything else will fall into place as far as leadership goes, as far as being able to lead your school, your instructors, your athletes, your students. I began training at Gracie Barra when I was 12 years old, and from a very early age I began assisting in classes, and I was a junior leader into the kids' classes, and since then I've been teaching Jiu-Jitsu. To teach Jiu-Jitsu was the only job I ever had. That was my first job. That's what I do up until this day. And because of that experience, I was always into leadership roles. So when I was helping into the kids' classes, it was a leadership role. When I took the responsibility to teach some of the adults' classes in the headquarters back in Brazil, it was a leadership role. And Master Carlos always made it very clear to me that it's not easy to be a leader. Also, that I could expect that when you decide to take into a leadership role, you are almost putting a target in your back, and I was okay with that, and I was always willing to accept the challenge. I enjoy it. I like challenges. About one big mistake that I did as a leader, a mistake that I did learn a lot from. It was a mistake I did in 2014 when I was working full-time through Gracie Barra North America, helping school owners in the support department, helping the team with the teaching related things like the curriculum, training camps, and I was also working full-time in leading the headquarters in Irvine. And I was leading the headquarters since 2005 when I moved from Brazil to California together with a group of people to start that school. So I was for 9 years doing that. I started teaching when the school opened its doors. I was there for 9 years. The school was very successful. We had hundreds of students, and I wanted to do more for Gracie Barra. I felt like I could embrace more challenges, and it was right when Gracie Barra was growing very fast in Brazil, and some of the schools in Brazil were becoming premium and were really strong and really well managed schools, and it did create an opportunity to bring a team of people with more experience to provide support in Brazil, to make the team there stronger, to raise the bar, to make the schools in Brazil better. That's when I made a decision to delegate almost everything that I was doing in the headquarters in Irvine to a team of people, and I wanted to be closer to Gracie Barra Brazil. That's how we call that entity in Brazil that provides support to the schools. And the only problem was that the plan that I built in the paper, it was a really good plan, but when it was time to implement it, it didn't work. I made some mistakes along the way. I don't think I was able to have the team working together and to function and synergize well as a team. And what ended up happening was that quickly the headquarters started losing students. We started losing so many students, and it was my responsibility as a leader, because those results were a direct reflection of the decision I made to delegate the operations, not only on the mats but in the offs. And like I said before, I don't think I was able to get everyone to work together and to function as a strong team. And long story short, it got to a point where in late 2015, less than 2 years later, we had a major problem in the headquarters. And it was clear that the school was not doing well, and that there was a need for an intervention. But then I made another decision. I did hold them accountable to make it work, and I waited. And it was really tough times, because I know how important the headquarters in Irvine is for the team, and I knew it was my responsibility to maintain the school strong. And it got to a point where we had less than 50 students, and the school was going to simply close down. And I remember calling Piu Piu, Marco Joca, Professor Marco Joca Piu Piu, and I told him, man, I will stay in Brazil until someone hands the keys of the school to you. When they give you the keys back, I will come back. and I am confident that we can make it happen again. Let's build the school pretty much from scratch, from zero again, to the strongest headquarters we ever had. And of course, under the guidance of Master Carlos, Piu Piu and I, we kept communicating, and for sure this day came where someone gave him the keys, and this person said, we don't want to have anything to do with this. It was a lease commitment, the commitment with the students, all sorts of challenges in there, and they said, we are out. So I got the keys and I said, no problem. Now I will come back, and it's my responsibility. I will do my best to fix it. So I did come back, and in my mind I kept thinking I needed to just work hard, of course, that's number one. Work extremely hard, but to go back to the basics. I believe that just like in Jiu-jitsu, it's always about going back to the basics and making the fundamentals work. So I made a decision to leave for 3 months inside the school. I built a room in there. There was no TV. I had a small bed, my computer, a shower, and I stayed there for 3 months. And the idea was to learn the students' names again, to know every single person that was coming through the doors of our school, to make sure that, again, we had a very solid and a strong family inside the headquarters. And that's what I call going back to the basics, because the basics of making a strong Gracie Barra school are understanding Master Carlos's vision and his teaching systems. That I do understand. I've been studying Jiu-Jitsu under him since I am 12 years old, but you also need to really care about the people within the school. You need to know the people. You need to create strong relationships inside the school. And in those 3 months, that's what I did. Of course, together with a team of people and one person that really earned my respect through all that was Professor Otávio Souza. He was probably, together with me, the most affected person with all those problems, but at all times he always made it clear that it didn't matter whatever problems we had, he was Gracie Barra and he would always be Gracie Barra. So knowing I had him on my side made it possible for us to solve the challenges that we did solve. So after 3 months, the school was getting back on track. I did move outside the school. I got an apartment nearby the headquarters, and I kept on building the team there. And next thing you know, I was having a conversation with over the last years, which is Professor Felipe Della Monica Furão, and we had a conversation. I shared with him my desire to be back in Brazil, that I wanted to be back in Brazil. I wanted to help the team there, and he made a commitment to take over the leadership for the headquarters. And he did take over the leadership. It was, if I'm not mistaken, January 2016. It was either January 2016 or 2015. Now I can't be precise, but anyways, in my opinion, he did build the strongest headquarters we ever had. Today, our students are extremely happy. It's a place where Gracie Barra instructors and school owners can go to receive support, to see the school operating. We have over 500 students. We have 3 math areas, and the entire Gracie Barra team is very, very proud of the headquarters in Irvine. And most importantly, Master Carlos sees it as his home in the United States, and he's extremely proud of that school. All that history, I believe, just made me appreciate more the things Master Carlos was able to build, because he does not make too many mistakes into his leadership. He's really good about reading people and getting people to work together. And this problem, this challenge made me appreciate even more the decisions he made over the years, and made me respect more Otávio and Furão. And I feel like today, because of this past history, the team is even more proud and embraces even more our headquarters in Irvine, because we all know how hard we had to battle in order to have what we have today. I'm so glad that each generation of Gracie Barra, school owners, instructors, athletes, students, is better than the previous one. I'm also very proud, and I strongly believe that it is a directly result of Master Carlos's concern and focus into providing support, providing information, educating. This is for sure a directly result of his approach. And I'm so glad that we have a strong instructors program. I did participate on each one of the instructors program versions. I remember the very first one, our studying book was in papers. The classes were inside the headquarters. It was a small class. We did our best to have a webcam broadcasting to a few school owners, and just to see how much the course has evolved, and to know that now the ICP 2019 is coming with a lot of new things. Just to know that Professor Victor Estima did come to Arizona together with Professor Flavio Almeida, and invested a lot of his time and energy filming a completely new version of our GB2 classes, our advanced program classes. We will now have a Victor Estima version done by Professor Victor Estima, meaning that if I want, I can have my students watching his videos, the instructors instructors that work with me watching his videos, and we can all teach classes inside my school based on the suggestions that Victor will share with us in the ICP 2019. To know all of that makes me appreciate even more what Master Carlos is building with the entire Gracie Barra team, and I cannot wait for the course to be released. I will participate, I will be taking the course, that's for sure. Like I said, I did not miss one version of the ICP, and my plan is to continue taking the course and learning from this vast amount of extremely well accomplished professors that we have inside Gracie Barra, and professors that donate their time and their knowledge to the course, so I can be learning anywhere I am.